Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to the weekly roundup edition of the Lunchtime News. My name is Wadulo Arnold. We do apologize for starting a little late, but here we are, and so we start. Now, this week, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said that government has leads into the attackers of General Edward Katumba Wamala while addressing his State of the Nation address. On Friday, Mr. Museveni said that the details of the gun used in the attack have been identified and those who did this will be brought to book.
Provided for under Article 101 of the Constitution, State of the Nation address is delivered at the beginning of each session of Parliament. The President highlights achievements registered in the current financial year and plans for the next financial year. The assassination attempt on the life of General Edward Katumba Wamala and the state of security in the country was part of this year's State of the Nation address delivered to the 11th Parliament at Kolo Independence Grounds. President Museveni said the assassination attempt against former Works and Transport Minister General Edward Katumba Wamala, which left his daughter and driver dead, exposed the poor organization of the Uganda police.
The cameras I put in place did their work. As you saw, the killers were running from one area to another area. Why didn't the camera center alert all the patrol cars and even the UAVs? UAVs are these unmanned air vehicles. We have them. They can follow you anywhere once they are deployed.
President Yoweri Museveni said their silence would have been intercepted and arrested if the police was well organized, especially in monitoring the cameras put in place to curb crime.
The criminals would then be on continuous viewing by all the camera centers if the policemen adopt my directives and rationality in the use of those cameras. So those cameras are there, but they are not fully used.
The President says one of the guns used to assassinate one of the former commanders of Allied Democratic Forces ADF, Major Muhammad Kigundu, in 2016 is the same weapon which was used to spray bullets at General Katumba's car on June 1st, 2021, leaving his daughter, Brenda Nantong, and driver Haruna Kayondo dead.
For instance, the gun which was used is already identified, which was used in the case of the Katumba attack. It is the same one which was used in the Chigundu case. Chigundu, the Major Chigundu. And those, a number of those, not all of them, were arrested, but they were released by the courts on bail.
He also directed police officers to stop using mobile phones and revert radio calls as a form of prompt communication in attempt to fight such criminality.
They abandoned using radio, they now use mobile phones. Hello, hello, hello. Now, mobile phone, you talk to only one person. Police don't work like that. Police work on a network. The police is directed, again, I had already directed them, but I repeat it, stop using mobile phones and go back to using radios that are open to all stations so that they can act promptly in emergencies like the one of General Katumba.
On corruption, the President warned the Minister of Finance and some committees of Parliament who he said are letting him down.
Corruption has become a real enemy. It starts in the Minister of Finance, where projects are designed with supernumerary elements, extras. They make a project, but they add in things which are not there, which shouldn't be there. These bloated projects go to ministries, like Minister of Water and so on. Then to the committees of Parliament. You watch out. You watch out. Committees of Parliament. Then to the Auditor General, where there is collusion all the way, and there are agents along the way. each one getting Njauro. I have the story now. I have the story, you will see. You will see. That's how I moved on the Uganda Airlines. They thought they were very smart, but they will find out what sort of people Bayekera are.
The State of the Nation address will be followed by the reading of the national budget for the fiscal year 2020-2021 on Friday next week at the same venue. Bernard Higa, UBC News, Kololo.
Still this week, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said that Uganda's economy has grown from $1.3 billion to $40 billion, adding that by 2026, the economy is estimated to be at $69 billion or $193 billion, according to the PPP method. He, however, revealed that he wasn't satisfied by this level of performance, comparing it to some companies in the USA that have annual turnovers of US billion dollars, which are more than the GDP of many African economies. Let's listen to what he had to say.
For us to sit here, how and why should a company have a size of business that is bigger than the economy of a whole country? The combined GDP of East Africa is 440 billion. The whole of East Africa, $440 billion. One company in the US called Walmart, $560 billion. You have seen how some of the individual companies have business sizes comparable to the combined economies of the whole of East Africa. Hence, in the medium term, we must aim at the size of the economy of at least $300 billion by foreign exchange method. By 2026, Uganda's population will be 48 million people. If each person is earning $3,000, each person per head is earning, or people are earning, for the children will not be earning, but their parents can earn for them. Earning US $3,000 per year, that will be $144 billion. This will just be people's incomes without including infrastructure. Yet, US $3,000 per person per year translates to shillings 10.8 million per person per year. And for a household of 5, this would translate to Uganda shillings 54 million per year. If each person was earning $3,000 in Uganda shillings for a household of 5, it will translate to 54 million shillings per year. Some of our households, like if you take the ones of Ruengaju, the one in near Fort Potro, Mr. Nyakana and his group, using 1 acre, are already earning shillings 240 million.
Early this week, the country was in shock on hearing that the former Army Commander General Katumba Wamala's vehicle had been shot at by assailants riding on motorcycles around Chisasi area, a Kampala suburb. Katumba sustained injuries on his arms, but his daughter and driver died at the attempted assassination. These are the details.
A few minutes to 9 a.m., 1st June 2021, information circulates on social media that Uganda's former Chief of Defense Forces, General Katumba Wamala, has been gunned down. We then advanced to the crime scene to ascertain the allegations. The initial video we obtained at the scene of crime show a UPDF vehicle, H4DF 2138, surrounded by a crowd. Blood oozing to the front and the side of the vehicle. Just at the back of the vehicle, Katumba Wamala's arms are soaked in blood, but at close range with his bodyguard holding 2 guns. Wamala is rushed to hospital by civilians, but 2 people die instantly. But what exactly happened? Aboard a UPDF Land Cruiser, General Katumba Wamala travels from his home with the daughter Brenda Nantongo, driver Kayondo Haruna, and bodyguard Khalid Kuboit. On account of eyewitnesses, the driver ascends a hump at Chisota Road, Chisasi, Kampala.
We are in Yambati ku hump what? Roger bade ku boda bidi.
Pichi zo zitoke kutekeleza pichi kwa naende mugoba wa pichi za TVS ezo zichiwaje zidduka ziri mu 10-15 zidduka nnyo za amaanyi.
The 4 men are covered with masks.
Badde nga beesibye bonna nga bazibu nnyo okulaba.
The driver then tries to protect the principal. He drives towards the wall.
Ne babula axis ekuba Katumba Wamala obulungi negaje nekakuba muwala we n'okusinga.
The assassinators then fire rounds of bullets at the driver's side.
Babadde ku pichi zaabwe olwa emidde buyimiza bati ku pichi nga muwanvu babadde mu jacket nnyingi katonza kumanya structure bamutono oba muki munene jacket ibadde biwanvu nga bambadde kiwulu ku mutwe so bazebuzi pichi ekutembu kwasi second nga 5 tatata ne bakuba kitudde kikanga 2 musasa nga gavuga.
In the scuffle, General Katumba Wamala's bodyguard shoots and injures one of the assassinators.
Agenza akutte ku kiwato bwati wano ng'omusayi gumuvaamu.
Ngolo no traffic wala abadenga agaba boda mbagobe namutonza bati emondo nago hansi.
Police comes and cordons off the crime scene, and investigations into the killing take effect. 2 people are confirmed dead in the attempted assassination of Katumba Wamala, the daughter Brenda Nantongo, and Kayondo Haruna, the driver. This unfortunate incident by shooting has happened in the same area where Andrew Felix Kawesi was murdered by shooting in 2017. Former Member of Parliament for Arua, Ibrahim Abiriga, was also killed in a similar manner. Others assassinated include Government Prosecutor Joan Kagezi, Major Muhammad Chigundu, Muhammad Chirumira, though no report has been released to account for these assassinations. Ivan Kahwa and Jen Yiramujisha, UBC News.
Furthermore, the commander of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, General David Muhoozi, this week reassured the family of General Katumba Wamala of continued protection. He was speaking at the burial of the late Nantongo Brenda, the daughter to General Katumba Wamala in Chikandwa, Mukono district.
This Thursday, 3rd June 2021, Nantongo Brenda, daughter to former Works and Transport Minister General Katumba Wamala, has been laid to rest.
Many people have been wondering why the gown, Brenda yambadde the gown. Mami yagambye, eno mbaga ya Brenda esembayo. Njagala okulaba omwana wange mu gown. And I made sure I get the gown.
Nanganze nabagambye ab'oku mulimu nti mu December nja ngenda kugenda wala koni namugamba oddayo mu America. Nabagamba nti ye nja kuddayo temujja kuddamu kunda. Story njijjukidde ya Kingamba. Era bwe maze nembikwa n'aka kakati kwe kuno kuyabagambye nti ngenda tagenda kuddayo balaba. Simanya ni gwe yali anyumya naye naye nga yanyumiza emboozi eyo.
Omuntu gw'ogenda otya ne weebaka n'oyanirizibwa abaana bo ne bakuwa caayi n'omugaati n'olya ng'ovako ekikolobero bwe kiti. Ddala mazima weebaka otya ekiro? Otunuulira otya abaana bo ng'omaze okutta owaamu nno? Ku lwaki temwagalira
The final send-off prayers were led by the Archbishop of Church of Uganda, Right Reverend Dr. Stephen Kazimba Mugalu.
Eri ab'okwerinda mwenna, eri bannayuganda abalumirwa emirembe, eri bannaddiini iffe okubeera nti tukubiriza abantu baffe okubeera ab'emirembe. Abira abantu baffe, buli muntu abeemu omutima ogulumirirwa munne. Njagala okusaba Katonda atuteekemu ekintu kye bayita obuntu, mu Lungereza kye bayita humanism. Ekyo kye kibuze mu ffe.
Uganda People's Defence Force, where Katumba Wamala is still a serving officer, was represented by the CDF General David Muhoozi.
The silver lining in this cloud, however, is that it's a signal for us in the UPDF to zippen up our boots. It's a direct provocation, and we shall certainly respond.
Muhoozi reassured government commitment to the search for perpetrators and securing the nation.
The motive of the killers seems apparent from the choice of their target to cause disaffection against government, to cause fear in the public, and to create an impression that peace and security is not durable in this country. This and other tests to our collective resolve, we shall overcome. We certainly can't make it any lighter on the family. The weight of loss is big. But we empathize with you, sir, and your family. And we shall also go after the culprits.
Muhoozi, however, faults the judiciary for giving an escape route to such criminals at a time if netted on assumption of lack of substantive evidence.
And this causes impunity. It has happened before when culprits exploit gaps to go away scot-free. We need this time round to marshal all our efforts in a coordinated way to ensure that we deal with this threat decisively. After all, our cardinal law, the Constitution, provides that substantive justice will be administered without undue regard to technicalities.
The central government was represented by the former government whip in Parliament, Ruth Nankabirwa.
Nga gavumenti nti tulina obusobozi obumala obw'okwanganga abazigu bano.
While addressing mourners, General Katumba Wamala referred to the daughter as a sacrifice for his life and also hailed his bodyguard and driver.
Because if Brenda was not where she was seated, all those bullets would have ended in my body. So she was my guardian angel. She gave in her life for me, unknowingly. She gave in her life for me. And maybe God said, your dad still has some work to do. But you being a good girl, come to heaven and we'll give you some more other work.
Till date, Katumba wonders what the motive of their silence was about.
How heartless people can be. That's what I saw. Situation eno nti abantu nga balina ettima. Era netondera Mukama Katonda kubanga kye nasooka okwogera nagani Mukama Katonda nga njagadde nnyo abantu lwaki abantu tebanjagala. I think I was wrong. And I'm sorry. Because people love me. People have loved us.
At only 33 years old, Nantongo Brenda was laid to rest amidst tears. On Tuesday morning, there was an attempted assassination of General Katumba Wamala in Kisasi, in which his daughter Brenda Nantongo and driver were killed. General Katumba escaped with bullet wounds. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Chikandwa, Mukono District.
On that same note, police this week released footage showing the killers who shot at Katumba Wamala's vehicle where 2 lives were lost in a gunfire exchange. We now analyze the videos captured using private and police cameras that show the assassins approximately 32 minutes around the jurisdictions where the shooting occurred.
the murder of Brenda Nantongo and Haruna Kayondo, the daughter and driver to General Katumba Wamala respectively, along Chisota Road in Chisasi. Uganda police released footage from its cameras and private cameras showing the movement of the killers. Two motorcycles were captured fleeing at a very high speed, with one holding what appears to be a gun in his right hand and the rider wearing a white helmet. The camera captured this motorbike at 8:29:31 seconds. The second bike was captured at 8:30:12 seconds, a time lag difference of 41 seconds. The two had their heads covered and the passenger holding what looks like a gun on his left side. This camera at the neighborhood captured the motion of what happened at that time. From the crime scene, there are 6 cameras located along Bukoto-Chisasi flyover. The first motorcycle is captured at 8:58:01 seconds, while the second motorcycle is captured at 8:58:27 seconds on the same flyover. The time lag is now reduced to 26 seconds, meaning they were close while taking off.
That image is sufficient enough to give us clue.
If we analyze the movement of these killers from the crime scene, the shooting took place at the perimeter wall of Eden Lawn here, and the private camera captured the assailants fleeing the scene at this point. It took 28 minutes for them to reach the flyover here, where they departed ways. The distance is 450 meters. The query would be, what were they doing for all these minutes on this short distance? Yet from the point of shooting, there is only one feeder route leading to Chisasi Chanja Road. They did not take the feeder route, which is located just behind this camera.
Because he says when his gun went silent, they thought maybe they had killed everybody. So this fellow who was shooting from behind comes back again shooting.
The whereabouts of the killers who went to Bahai Road ends here, using this piece of evidence released by police. 800 meters ahead on this route, cameras are planted at Mariam Road.
We are processing more images depending on where these people could have vanished from.
The motorcycle that had killers having a white helmet and striped shirt rode to Kira Road at 9 a.m., made a U-turn and headed to Bukoto Trading Center. There is a camera here which captured them disappearing at Oryx fuel station. From the flyover to this point, only 3 minutes were used. If we are to calculate the time spent given the evidence of movements presented by police, the assassins, to be specific, the ones with stripes and white helmet, took approximately 32 minutes to reach the petrol station from the shooting area.
Oluka police post yakaliwo naye kijitwalire like 20 to 15 minutes kuba bagenze n'otuuka nga jeno bamaze omutwala ku ddwaliro fa ababoda ababaddewo.
The cameras I put in place did their work. As you saw, the killers were running from one area to another area. Why didn't the camera center alert all the patrol cars and even the UAVs? UAVs are these unmanned air vehicles. We have them. They can follow you anywhere once they are deployed to chase and block these killers.
Basing on the time indicated on the camera as evidence and supposing it is correct time, the shooting might have happened before 8:29 a.m. At the Oryx fuel station, security found us mapping the area. We get information that this is part of the ongoing investigations. There are leads to crack down the assailants, the help of CCTV cameras, bullet cartridges collected at the scene of crime to ascertain the type of gun used.
For instance, the gun which was used is already identified.
Eyewitnesses' accounts who claim one assailant was shot at.
Agasobodde okukwata omu ku babadde bakuba era agenza akutte ku kiwato bw'ati wano ng'omusayi gumuvaamu.
Assuming we start talking about the injured suspects, the injured assassins, do you realize that you are preempting his move for a medical examination?
In such a sophisticated case, police holds their findings confidential in order not to jeopardize the process of investigations.
I can only assure you that the team which is on the ground is highly proficient with the pedigree and high-level experience. It is being enhanced by science and the operation is joint.
Or at least if you think it is a security that it's a risk that you need to keep it to yourself, can you then manage the situation and stop these killings?
And we are very optimistic that we shall apprehend these culprits.
Such assassinations have been whistleblown by bloggers and have turned out to be legit. Police has key interest in all this as evidence.
Katumba amala okimanyi bulungi nnyo nti okutta kw'abantu mu Uganda naddala abantu ab'ebitiibwa balina essaazi babatiramu, balina common hours.
So in as far as any theory that can come along, we shall take it up but pursue it after the evaluation. We cannot undermine what he's saying, but neither can we first leave the scientific pursuit which we are undertaking in preference of what he's saying.
Meanwhile, reports of previous assassinations have been handed over to the Director Public Prosecution as a form of accountability to the public.
The article that establishes the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution compels us to report to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution for purposes of prosecuting. 2, the provided information, once clearly evaluated by the Office of the Public Prosecution, is used as evidence and it is laid to court, sometimes even shared by the defense lawyers. So all our outcomes and our actions are clearly reported to those 2 offices.
The intention of these assassinations remain unknown.
In another development, Christians attending Martyrs' Day celebrations at Namugongo Catholic Shrine were this week urged to pray that Uganda overcomes the COVID-19 pandemic. This year's Mass, celebrated on the theme "Don't Take Heart," attended by 200 people, was animated by Masaka Diocese.
For 2 years running, Namugongo Martyrs Catholic Shrine has not hosted pilgrims due to the stringent standard operating procedures aimed at stopping the spread of COVID-19. This year, only 200 representative pilgrims attended prayers at Namugongo Catholic Martyrs Shrine, animated by Masaka Diocese. At 9:30 a.m., Bishop Severus Jumbo of Masaka Diocese led a procession of celebrants, including the chairperson of Uganda Episcopal Conference, Bishop Anthony Zwa, the Apostolic Administrator of Kampala Archdiocese, Bishop Pose Mongerere, the Apostolic Nuncio to Uganda, Luigi Biancho, and the priests made their way to the altar. Bishop Jumba urged pilgrims to have faith in the Lord, which will eventually bring peace.
I invite you, brothers, that the situation as it is, coronavirus is pressing us hard. Let us not lose hope. Let us face it with the eyes of the gift of faith which we have inherited from the White Fathers for this part of the country and which has been watered by the blood of the martyrs.
Apart from the 365 Ugandans that have lost the battle to COVID-19, Bishop Jumba said the death of Bishops like Kaguo of Masaka, Cyprian Kizito Lwango of Kampala Archdiocese, and Odongo of Tororo have left a thorn in the church.
I want to add to the words of the Holy Father that we must witness to this legacy, that we have internalized this legacy by living a life of reconciliation, respect for one another, a life of justice, which ensures into genuine peace.
Bishop Anthony Zwa, the chairperson of Uganda Episcopal Conference, condemned the ungodly acts of murder in the country.
People using machetes to kill others, using spears to spear other people, using guns to kill people, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to repeat what has been mentioned here, what has happened to General Katumba, and we pray for the repose of his daughter and his driver. Now, how can we today condemn Mukajanga when there are so many Mukajangas? Does that exist? There are so many Mukajangas in our society.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among Anet, represented government.
We need peace, and as Christians, as religious, we are the ones who are going to preach about this peace that we are talking about. Let's come out truthfully to talk about it, and we implement it. We should not just talk, but as government we are committed to have reconciliation.
This year's pilgrimage comes at a special time in the life of our country. A new term of office for the President and members of Parliament has just started. We seek the intercession of the martyrs so that God may enable the leaders to prioritize the fundamental needs of the ordinary Ugandan.
In Uganda, Martyrs Day is celebrated annually to commemorate the 45 Christians killed between 1895 and 1887 on orders of Kabaka Basamulekere Mwanga of Buganda for embracing Christianity. Before the coronavirus pandemic hit the country, this place would attract between 800,000 and 3 million pilgrims. Today, only 200 pilgrims due to COVID-19 have attended this year's Uganda Martyrs Day celebrations here at the Catholic Shrine on the theme, Don't Lose Heart. Bernard Higa, UBC News, Namugongo.
So I was actually wondering why I read Don't Take Heart. It is actually Don't Lose Heart. Furthermore, pilgrims at the Protestant shrine in Namugongo this week conducted prayers to remember the Uganda martyrs. It's now 57 years since the martyrs were commissioned and elevated to sainthood in 1964. Now the prayers were held under the Ministry of Health guidelines.
Members of the outgoing cabinet, the Speaker of Parliament and the Head of Public Service John Mitala have graced the Martyrs Day event at the Protestant shrine to remember the martyrs who were killed by Kabaka Mwanga Basamulekere.
And each of them was asked to denounce Christianity, to denounce Jesus. And they said no.
This is the time, yes we can. Say, tell everybody, yes we can. Yes. Head of Labour for the province, stand up. This is a man with a yes we can. To God be the glory.
The event has been scientifically held with a handful of people due to COVID-19. The Head of Public Service, John Mitala, represented the Head of State, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa.
I welcome and greet all the participating pilgrims who have joined this event.
President Museveni recognizes the contribution of the church to the development of communities, but disregards sectarianism based on religion and tribe.
It is the reason we are preaching African integration at all levels and all sectors, especially trade, and the enhancement of all services across the African continent.
23 Anglicans, 22 Catholics and 12 Muslims were killed on the orders of Kabaka Mwanga between 1885 and 1887.
Government is going to work with them to establish a Muslim Martyrs site at Namugongo. We are working with the Muslim leadership to document the story of the Muslim Martyrs, and this is how this can be actualized.
This year, the Church of Uganda celebrates 60 years of self-governance and self-propagation. Ivan Kahua, UBC News in Namugongo.
Uganda Prison Service this week dismissed allegations that the effect that they were hiding COVID-19 cases from the public. The spokesperson, Uganda Prison Service, Frank Baine, says that they have established special treatment centers with qualified health workers to respond to cases related to coronavirus. Now, this follows questions raised by the public after the recent transfer of some inmates from Nakasongola to Gulu.
Uganda Prison Service spokesperson Frank Baine has dismissed allegations of hiding COVID-19 cases in prisons.
There is no reason for us to hide COVID-19 cases because I have been frequently on the media updating the public on the numbers of cases we have had.
Baine says the prison service recently had 20 female inmates affected by COVID-19 at Nakasongola prison who have since been sent to Gulu Central Prison for treatment.
We also got some 3 from Sanga, and those have been transferred to Mbarara Treatment Center. They are also asymptomatic. We have had 5 from Busesa. Busesa is one of the isolation centers in the southeastern region, and they have been transferred to Jinja Treatment Center. They are all in stable condition, and actually the majority of them are asymptomatic.
Despite the efforts to vaccinate all the prison staff, the prison service is still challenged by the limited doses of vaccines. Uganda Prison Service is expecting to roll out the vaccination of all prisoners against COVID-19 as soon as the vaccines are available.
Vaccination was strictly for staff for the first dose and second dose, but we are hopeful that when the batch, which was expected in May and has not come, when that batch comes, prisoners are part of the areas or the vulnerable groups that will have to be vaccinated. We are very optimistic about that.
So far, Uganda Prison Service have 1,103 confirmed cases of COVID-19 with 1 death. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
The Vice-Chancellor, Chambogo University, Professor Eli Katunguka, this week urged government to open up Nambole Stadium as an isolation treatment center for the surging COVID-19 cases. Professor Katunguka made these remarks at the media briefing over the overwhelming COVID-19 cases reported at Chambogo University. And this surge has left the university with no option but to put an interim end to physical learning.
Due to the increased numbers of COVID-19 cases at Chambogo University, the university administration has started tightening the grip on the enforcement of COVID-19 measures. The university is also putting much emphasis on online teaching as a remedy staying the lives of lecturers and students out of danger.
We shall go ahead with Odell, and for those students who will not have benefited from this, when we resume physical classes, we shall provide time for them for face-to-face catch-up.
Since the university resumed physical lectures, it has registered over 50 positive cases from students and staff.
Definitely, learning stations are not spared. At the moment, we've registered over 50 cases of COVID.
Dr. Grace Melegura is also concerned about the delays in releasing the COVID-19 results from the central laboratory, leading to the surging of the numbers.
So, most importantly is that when these students test positive, we have been opting for home care for these students. But as we know, these students still come back into the institution and infect their colleagues.
Professor Katunguka says due to the lack of isolation centers, the students and staff that test positive still interact with other students.
If government can open Nambole, then those who test positive can be evacuated. Because right now we have that challenge. People test positive, they may go and isolate at home in their hostels, but some of them keep coming.
However, he appealed for express vaccination of university staff members. Jane Nyiramugisha, UBC.
Therefore, understanding this model.
Excuse me, lady. Who do you think you are?
A queen?
Hey, haven't you heard? Get Airtel Chillax bundles and browse like a queen.
Get Airtel Chillax bundles that do not expire and browse like a queen or king. Dial *175# or use My Airtel app. Airtel, the smartphone network.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we learn, because it's those things that bring us close together.
Prosper with Airtel Money today. Become an Airtel Money agent. Apply or register today as an Airtel Money agent free of charge, or call us on 0800 327 327 toll free. Submit your business documents to be verified by Airtel Uganda free of charge. Feedback will be communicated within a maximum of 5 working days. The Airtel team will be in touch with you for the next business steps, still at no cost. Inquiries, applications or registrations and verification are all free of charge. To register or know more, call us today on 0800 327 327 toll free. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. You're still watching the weekly news roundup bulletin here on UBC TV, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue, also on YouTube under the name tag UBC Television Uganda. Now, in the world of business, South African authorities have billed Uganda Airlines' new route from Entebbe to Johannesburg as a shot in the arm for the aviation industry of the two countries. Now, this revelation was made at the launch of Uganda Airlines' latest route at Oliver Tambo International Airport, Johannesburg. Samuel Senono with a report.
Johannesburg is the 10th route on Uganda Airlines regional network.
We should have launched about 18 routes by now, but because of the COVID lockdown and all that, we've been held back. So launching this route is moving in tandem with our business plan.
The airline will now operate 4 flights a day to the southern city of Africa using the CRJ 900 jetliners from Bombardier.
We launched in Nairobi, launched in Kinshasa, we launched in Bujumbura, but this is the longest, the one whereby our Bombardier can fly to maximum, because its endurance in the air is 4 hours, and this is exactly the 4 hours which we have made. So it's exciting, and you know there is a lot of people fly from Kampala to Johannesburg. People have business here. Incidentally, even some of our visas are processed from here.
And this new development comes as a relief for many travelers between the two countries who have been enduring long transit hours on trips to both destinations.
We have reduced our flight hours from averagely 12 to 4 hours. And with this, we are very, very grateful. There are a number of Africans doing business and working in these areas. Entebbe, South Africa, do lots of movement this is a sigh of relief. And we believe that this is going to go a long way to help us reach each other's capitals in a record time.
For the South African authorities, this will go a long way in fostering economic cooperation between the two countries.
Explore our fellow African country and make sure that we interact, share knowledge, do business, and definitely rise the continent together.
The airline is also in advanced stages of finalizing with the acquisition of the air operator certificate for the 2 Airbus A330-800 neo aircraft.
We are projecting for June 30th. And by then we will have our AOC, we believe. We will have the Airbus included on the AOC, and then we will use the Airbus to Dubai.
Samuel Senono, UBC News, Johannesburg, South Africa.
And that brings us to the end of our weekly roundup bulletin this 6th day of June 2021. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold. Stay tuned for more programming your way and more news in our subsequent bulletins. Have yourselves a lovely Sunday afternoon.